Our High Thrive Live. I was just talking with our incredible special guest here, Dwayne Price, and you're such an inspiration, Dwayne. I really enjoy working with you, and just really grateful to have you on here. Now, Dwayne has been working on his marriage for how long would you say, Dwayne?
I'd say probably about 6 months.
6 months now. Yep, and he came on with Mark and I in our Express marriage coaching. And so we've had the privilege of getting to work with him and see his transformation. Now, we were just going through some of the questions that you all submitted to us here about what it means. I'm gonna put it here on the screen because I like this stuff. There we go. What it means to work on you. And we got so many incredible questions. So I really appreciate that. And as Dwayne and I were talking about some of the questions, he was just saying that he can relate to so many of them. I can too, in a little bit of a different way, but this is going to be really, really beautiful. So I'm going to hide that. First of all, okay. So when we hear that you need to work on you, sometimes I feel like there is a bit of pushback about that. And sometimes we get the feeling like I am working on me. I'm doing all these things. I'm making all these changes. Why isn't it working? Why isn't my spouse seeing these things? And so we can have sometimes a little bit of resistance to wanting to work on ourselves. And so today, Dwayne and I just want to offer a lot of clarity about what is in your control and what is not in your control so that you can really move forward effectively in your marriage. So Dwayne, at any time, feel free to pop in. But I just want to give a little bit of an explanation here. So I'm going to pull this next little piece. And yeah, thanks for everyone saying hi and letting us know that you can hear and see us okay. So basically, I just want you to take a step back from wherever you might be right now in your marriage and in your life. And if you're not getting the results that you want, can we agree that you have to do different things, right? If we keep doing the same things we've been doing, we're going to keep getting the same results, right? So we really have to work on doing some new things, learning some new things, and becoming a bit of a newer, better version of ourselves so that then the outward results will be there and we'll become that kind of person that we really want to be. So Dwayne, will you just share with us a little, just a little bit here, where were you at before you started this journey of working on yourself and before working with Mark and I, and where are you at now?
Okay, so basically I'm coming from a background of being a overworker, workaholic, a giver, and not being able to say no, and I would take on things that weren't necessarily my responsibility, and a lot of it I used to do just to keep the peace. So that in turn caused problems in my marriage because I wasn't home, dedicated to work, and basically life come crashing down when my wife says let's have a divorce. Devastated, absolutely blown away, seen some inkling of it happening, but really it just didn't turn around, and there was nothing major that sort of said that everything is in trouble, it's going to end tomorrow. So then I spend the next 12 weeks. I have a personal mentor that was helping me out, and unfortunately he has his own job. He does a great job with me, and he just didn't have a lot of time. I spent a lot of time online trying to find things, subscribe to probably 15, 16 different things about marriage and things like that. So I was learning a lot, but I just wasn't getting the keys to success. And around about 12 weeks in, one of your sessions come up on Facebook, and basically, I was able to relate to a lot of that, and then I came on board. And what I really found was that what I had learned in the last 12 weeks was right in front of me. And in the course, in the whole program was right in front of me. And I mean, I feel that I wasted 12 weeks out there, searching for answers. And things like mindset, from the course, I've got mindset help. Heather's helped me with that. Mark's helped me with it. The one-on-ones really hit home. And basically, even the group calls, you learn something every week. And, today I was just in a group call. I didn't really have any questions, but I was learning, and a lot of it I could relate to. So where am I at now? Absolutely positive mindset. Everybody seems amazed with me. I should still be a tattered wreck and everything like that. But at the end of the day, no, look, I'm positive. I have a mindset that, well, it is what it is. And in the meantime, I can't change my wife. I can accept what she's doing. I may not like it and that, but at the end of the day, it's her choice, her decision. I'm working on myself. I'm becoming a better person. Everybody else is seeing it. And look, and it's the course has just advanced me so much in the last 12 weeks since then. So, and look, I'm just really grateful for Heather and Mark and what they put in. The effort they put in is unbelievable, So
you've absolutely done the work, Dwayne. You applied the principles, and you took that step from like something that's a good principle to it's an action now, and it's become who you really are. So what do you think that phrase, working on you, what does that mean to you?
I think working on you is finding yourself, and really clearing a lot of limiting beliefs and things like that. In the course, I found patterns in me, and I could see it, and I could see that I would do things just because it would keep the peace. And I've learned to stand up for myself and say, hey, I am valued, I am worthy. And I know Heather and I dug deep one day online in the group call, and we really went deep. And in the meantime, that changed my mindset. And look, even recognizing that I was very negative all the time because of work stresses and things like that, and now I can see those patterns and I'm working on them. I can see them when they happen. But the biggest thing is basically the one thing I've got from this course is look for gratitude. And, now that's helped me work on me, because I can now see how that's changing my relationship with a lot of people. So, and that's something I needed to do, and that's something I needed to work on, and I didn't recognize it.
Right. That's so true. It's kind of that pattern interrupt. And like you mentioned, one of the crucial foundations that we always want to help people get to is those limiting beliefs. Yep. And if you don't know what a limiting belief is, if you're watching, basically we all have a story that we've developed over the years, a story about ourselves, our story about our relationships, our story about life and how it's supposed to work. And all of these things kind of come together and they give us our paradigm. That's a fancy word, but basically our perspective on how we look at the world. And everyone's perspective is obviously their own. It's obviously going to be very different. And what we want to do is we want to look at the story we've been telling ourselves. And we will recognize that there are parts of the story that are empowering and that are serving us. And there are parts of the story that don't serve us at all, that are holding us back, that are keeping us stuck. Oftentimes, if you feel like you are in a cycle where the same thing keeps coming up again and again and again and again, there's that subconscious programming there, this limiting belief that tells you the story. Dwayne, do you mind if I share a little bit about yours? Are you open to that?
Yep.
Okay. All right. I appreciate you being here, and I just honor you, and everyone give him some thumbs up because he's doing awesome. We appreciate you a lot. And this I've gone through this myself, where I recognized some of the limiting beliefs that were holding me back and keeping me stuck. And Dwayne had the courage to go deep and to face some of those. So like he mentioned at the beginning, he was in a state where he was kind of helping everyone, right? And we called it white knight syndrome, right? Right, Dwayne? Yep. And just felt like he had to give and give and give to the point where he was pretty burnt out. Wouldn't you agree?
Yep.
Yeah. and that there was a lot of conflict there with like trying to give to work and your parents with their business and helping them out, and then, you know, giving to your wife and to your kids and always being the hero,
Yep.
always showing up. And if something wasn't going to be done, well, then you would just do it yourself.
Yep.
And so one of the things that was so awesome about the work that we did together was recognizing that in those moments when you were just doing it just to get it done, that was not really honoring yourself, right?
Yep.
And so do you remember kind of how we helped you cross that road and help you get to the new belief?
Yeah, we looked at what the things were that were causing me to display those patterns, and we worked through it. And I mean, I remember going to a point of actually feeling like I was just doing it to keep the peace. I felt that I was, when we went deep, I actually felt, unworthy of love. And I felt that this was my way of expressing love. And, like I still say it today, that I express love through acts of service. But I mean, I've recognized that, that I'm a protector. I know that, I understand that, but I also recognize that through going deep, I recognize that I am worthy, and I am a person that is good I have a good nature, and at the end of the day, I can only help people so far. But I can also realize that once I realized that I felt that I had failed if I had helped them as far as I could, and like that all come out of a 15-minute conversation. And when I found that that I felt I failed, I became emotional, and it was something that I couldn't figure out why. And I mean, we all know that crying in front of your spouse is probably one of the worst things. But in the meantime, I actually found through the work we did that I was feeling that I'd done everything I could to protect my wife, and I can do no more. She's left the house and everything like that. But we working even further after that call, through some of the course material, I realized that, okay, I can lead them to water, but I can't make them drink. But even though I feel that I've failed, once I reach that point now, I recognize that there is always help. There is always alternatives. I just haven't found them. So I haven't found them yet. And I basically, it's all, as I said, it all started with a 10, 15-minute conversation.
Yeah.
So,
but willing to go deep into yourself and looking at yourself, right? And those beliefs, clearing some of those and developing new patterns and new beliefs. Where has that gotten you now?
Oh, look, I mean, I'm able to see the triggers. I can see the triggers when I start to well up. And as soon as I do that, I start looking at what's good and what I have done and everything like that. I don't fall into that emotional state. And there's so many other things that working on mindset has actually got me to the point where my wife's left. Okay, she's left, so be it. I'm working on myself. I can't control it, and really, I notice a lot of people have challenges with infidelity, and I mean, at the end of the day, I recognize there's a reason for it. But at the end of the day, my mindset on that is, well, she chooses to do it, and in the meantime, again, I can't change it. I don't like her actions, but I still love her, and it's actually brought me into an unconditional. It's made me recognize something that I didn't realize. And I mean, the day I married my wife, I had unconditional love for my wife. I made a choice to love my wife, and where I'm at now is I have unconditional love for my wife, and I will do anything for her. And in the meantime, like she wants to go do this, so be it, and I don't know, but that attitude and that mindset is very hard to get through. But at the end of the day, we were able to work through that within days. So, which is good.
That is so awesome. And you're getting a lot of love from the members. So they're appreciating you and appreciating you opening up to share your experience. Just to throw out some other limiting beliefs so that you can, his was that he needed to show up and serve everyone to feel worthy of love, right? Yep. Other ones, unworthy of love is a huge one, right? I'm not good enough. Let's see, what else? I'll never be enough, anything along those lines, right? Yeah. For me, it was the limiting belief on the surface level was just a lot of tension and fear about being close to my husband. And when I dug deep, it was that I didn't feel, I felt like what it was, in all honesty, was that the harder I tried, the more I'm going to mess up and it's just not going to work. And so getting to the root of that was that I had created a story from childhood that I was going to mess up close relationships. I was going to mess up, right? And that I was going to do something so they would leave me. And when I finally cleared that out and replaced that belief with I am worthy of love, I am capable of loving, I am strong, I am deserving, all of those things, then it shifted everything for me. And what you mentioned there about that kind of peace of mind that you know what you can control and what you can't control is exactly what I wanted to share here. So these are supposed to be big circles, not O's. So imagine that there's 3 circles of control, okay? And each circle is an area. The first one is that you have complete control over something. And the second is that you have some control, partial control, or influence over. And the last one is God's will, absolutely no control over that area. And what Stoic philosophy says is you want to focus on what you can control and let go of what you can't. Be aware of it, but don't dwell there. Now, what do we see in our culture? We see the reverse, right? I would say that 90% of the time, 80, 90% of the time, we as human beings are focusing on what we can't control. We're focusing on everything that's going wrong, everything that we want other people to change. And that is never how we're going to get the results that we want. So we need to reverse that equation and start to focus on what we can control. And just a little quick example of how this works. Let's take like our body, our physical health, right? Something that you control 100% is what you eat. No one else chooses what goes in your mouth most of the time, unless there's like something really rare. But most of the time, you control entirely what you choose to put in your body. Now, what you have some control over is your health. You put good food in your body, you have some control of your health. You put good food in your body, but you might have been born with some kind of condition that then prevents you from having optimal health, right? So you have some control there. What you have no control over would be like a natural disaster. Say that there's a hurricane or a flood or another act of God or something else that's completely out of control that then ends your life, right? Or leaves you with a disability or anything like that. So that would be something that you had no control over. So I hope that kind of illustrates. So again, what we want to do here and what Dwayne has illustrated so beautifully is that when we're working on us, we need to focus on what is within our control. And we need to go deep there. We need to look at ourselves and look at some of the limiting beliefs that might be holding us back and keeping us stuck and working there. Now, the effect that that's going to have, you have some control over that. You do. And Mark and I teach that you can save your marriage on your own because in most cases, that's absolutely true. You do have a lot of influence there. But do you have absolute control of your spouse? No, that would fall into the category of you don't have control there. As much as us control freaks might want to have control there, we simply don't. And so shifting our focus to 90% on what we do have control over is going to give us a lot of peace and a lot of fulfillment and joy in life because we're no longer wanting other things that we can't control to change. So we're going to go real quick over here to some questions. And then I want to give you a little practice, everyone, a mindset practice on what you can do there. All right, so we did get a lot of questions, like I mentioned, and some of them were still about my spouse is doing this is happening in my marriage. And so for everyone that submitted a question like that, again, I encourage you to focus on what you can control, okay? Because that's what we're talking about, and that is the first step. It always has to start there. So Kenneth asked this. He said, my question is that I don't always seem to give all of myself to her, that I don't do anything for me. I need to find boundaries for myself. However, be okay, sorry. Reading and speaking. However, be more supportive of her and her feelings. Hope I can lead my marriage into success. So he feels like he seems to give all of himself to her and he doesn't do anything for me. So I think this is a beautiful question for you, Dwayne, since you came from kind of a similar mindset. So what do you recommend for Kenneth here?
Look, I mean, basically, I was in the same boat. Particularly once I started to go through the marriage breakdown, and I started doing a lot of things for my wife, little minor things, and what I found was that it wasn't recognised. But at the end of the day, I occasionally got a thanks. I remember one time when, middle of winter, it was cold and frosty here. The windows are iced up, and all I did was got a bottle of water, went out to the front driveway, turned around and defrosted the car, and then I didn't get a direct thanks, or anything like that. But then I get a text message somewhere, about 10 minutes after she's gone, and thank you for defrosting my window. And I mean, I said about doing a lot of things, but I also said about doing a lot of things. For a reason. And I'd go through and I recognised that I hadn't been around for some time leading up to this, and I got to the point where I started doing things like I'd maintain the house, and I'd do her washing as well as mine. I wouldn't do separate loads or make her do it, and I actually changed my mindset, and it wasn't about doing things for her and getting no gratitude. It was doing things for my wife because I loved her. And in the meantime, there was reasons behind it because I wasn't here, and she actually recognised it at some stage and went, "Oh, you're very productive today." And I've gone, "Yeah, well, I have been for weeks, but I didn't say that, And it's like, and that gave me the opportunity to turn around and say, "Hey, look, I recognise I haven't been here for the last couple of months because of my workload. I recognise that you do a fantastic job on the house, and I just want to pay back. And if it's not, I don't care if I've got to do the housework for the rest of my life. I value what you have actually put in, and I just wanted to say, thank you. And so there will be opportunities to do that. It may not happen now. It may feel like it's months, but there will be opportunities. So.
And then how do we do that? The whole part where he mentions that he seems like he gives everything to her and he doesn't do anything for himself, and that he needs to find some boundaries there. How do you relate to that?
I relate to that very much. I work in a family business. I have a set of aging parents. Demands on me are huge, and so how do you work on yourself? Well, the first thing you got to do is recognize that you do need to have time for yourself. And some things I did when I first started was I changed my patterns, and I created time for myself because I recognized that I wouldn't get time for myself in the afternoon because I'd come home from work, and somebody would go, "Hey, I need you to do this," or the phone would ring, and all of a sudden I just started to go, "Hey, you know what? I'm finished at work. I don't want to know about work after work. Please don't ring me." Which gave me some time. But then I found that somebody else wanted something done and everything like that. So how did I change that? I gave time to myself by getting up early in the morning, and I was up at 5:30, 6 o'clock in the morning. And I gave time to myself by going out and walking, and that it's in itself actually helps as well, because not only are you walking, and it's time alone, it's time to think, and then the other thing is you've got to make time. So you've got to make time to get out and go and do things, and you've got to realize that you can't live your life for somebody else. you've got to live it for yourself.
Right. And another really important kind of shift to make there is that you cannot serve if you're completely depleted, right? So if your love language, if your strength is acts of service, then make sure that you're serving yourself, because one of my favorite sayings is you cannot draw water from an empty well. You've got to fill that cup up, especially for us that are in a caregiver position, those that have a lot of responsibilities, and in a marriage. You've got to make sure that your cup is full. So that is a form of self-love and self-respect. So honor yourself so that then you can become the best version of you to show up for those that you care about and to show up for those that you have responsibility to. Really, really good. I have a question real quick here. So I'm going to show this. How do you get yourself to not trying to control what you can't? So that's a great question. What you're going to have to do there is what we call a pattern interrupt. First, you're going to have to be aware what you can control and what you can't, and then just shift your focus. And if you want to write it out, you want to journal it out, you ask yourself, what can I control here? Okay, this is what I can control here. What am I going to do? What action steps can I take that will improve this situation? And then you zone in on that. You focus on that. You get into action about that. You get out of your own head about worrying about everything else, and you focus solely on the things that you can control. And you're going to have to do some like pattern interrupt every time you feel yourself going down that road. Nope, I can't control that. I'm going to shift my focus back over here. I'm going to work on me. I'm going to work on this, and the results will be positive. And you'll get momentum and release of dopamine in your brain as you do those things. And that's going to motivate you, encourage you to keep going. And it's going to be really, really rewarding, to the point where you're not going to want to focus on what you can't control so much anymore. You're going to want to be in that kind of state. Really good. All right, we've got a lot of questions here. Let's see, where are we on time? So this, we have about 5-10 more minutes. Woo, we could talk all night about this. They're so powerful, and just have such appreciation for you all for sharing. I just want to talk real quick with Corrine, who asked about balancing self-care with putting your spouse first. She went into a little bit of depth there about, getting up early, even though you're tired, with him before he goes to work, etc. So balancing self-care with putting your spouse first. I really love this question. Again, this goes back to making sure that your cup is filled first, because you cannot draw water from an empty well. So when it comes to, am I above, whose needs are above, you always have to take care of yourself, bottom line. Because if you don't show up for you, he can't do that for you. He can't get you the sleep that you need. He can't get you the food that you need or the nurturing. There's so many things that we have to provide for ourselves. And so showing up for yourself first. Now, the second part of that is putting spouse first. Okay, so first to what? That's my question. First to you? Well, I hope I clarified that. He's not going to be first to you. You're going to show up first for yourself, so that then you can be there for him as the best version of yourself. Okay, putting spouse first before watching TV, watching shows you don't like, that's your decision, right? Is honoring him and giving him the ability to watch a show that he likes, is that important to you as an act of love for him? That's your decision, right? Putting your spouse first before another person of the same sex, yes. Right? But you're gonna have to go through that and decide in what instances do you put your spouse first over other things. But your self-care always needs to come first. All right, I'm gonna go to Tanya's question here. All right, and her question is, how do I lose all my weight? I have gained over a Great Depression because he has nicely, I'm not going to say the bad words here because I don't do that, but like an a-hole tells you he got with you when you were super skinny. And he basically hates how fat you've gotten, and it bothers him daily. Yes, he's admitted that to me. Plus, he thinks him being mean about it will help me want to lose it faster. I actually see the opposite happening. Help. This is such a beautiful question, Tanya, and I honor you. It does not surprise me at all that it's going in the opposite direction, right? Because him being mean to you about it is putting you into a state of probably frustration, fear, disappointment in yourself, guilt, shame, anger at him, resentment toward him. when you're in that kind of state, your body is not going to respond to healthy changes. It's going to move you in the opposite direction. And I know Dwayne has quite the experience here as well that he wanted to share. So Dwayne, what's your advice here for Tanya?
Look, it's my advice is, first and foremost, you need to do it for yourself, not for your partner. Look, I mean, I've lost about 44 pounds, 20 kilo. And I haven't lost it through stress, through divorce. I've just lost it through self-motivation. And I recognize that my weight loss is so much more than looking good. Really where it comes down is I need to be strong for my wife because of her future needs. I need to be healthy. I need to get below the 100 kilo because at the end of the day, I'm a walking time bomb. I won't live long. I need to be here for my kids. So there's so many more reasons that I've come up with for my weight loss. And like, I couldn't get off the floor at one stage. I had to have help. And how am I going to help my wife with her future needs? And in the meantime, I won't be here for my kids. And really, the thing that I look at is looking good is the payoff. It's not actually my reason. It's the payoff. So, and I still have, another 20 kilo, another 44 pound to lose. But in the meantime, at the end of the day, I'm feeling a lot better, another payoff. So, you've got to look for payoffs rather than doing it for your spouse.
That's exactly right. I would also encourage you to review some of our live streams that Mark has done about setting healthy boundaries. I definitely feel like a healthy boundary needs to be set here with your husband, Tanya, because him talking to you that way is not okay. It's not going to facilitate, that's the word, facilitate a good, healthy relationship. It's not going to facilitate your healthy self-esteem. If anything, all of that pressure and everything is just going to, like you said, get you going further in the opposite direction. So there's a couple different ways to approach this. First, you need to establish some healthy boundaries there with your husband, and work together more as a team. And if you can't work together as a team, then you got to have some healthy boundaries to disconnect for a little while. As far as this topic goes, I'm not saying disconnect in your relationship. I'm just saying, create some healthy boundaries there. And that might look like, I'm not okay actually with you talking to me about my weight anymore. And there's a way to do that will be productive and healthy and leading you in the right direction. So I encourage you to check out some of those live streams and trainings that we've done on that particularly. And then again, like Dwayne said, it comes down to self-love. So I would encourage you to take a step back and look at how I love my body. How does my body serve me? How can I be grateful for my body? What kind of foods do I love to gift my body with that are healthy and life-sustaining? How do I love to move my body? It doesn't have to be exercise class or, like a gym membership, right? But like Dwayne said, it was just so therapeutic for him just to walk. And that also helps support his health physically and his well-being. And so looking at why you want to do anything that you want to do is so important and crucial to get to that gut core level why. Because instead of feeling like you're being pushed to achieve something, you'll feel like you're being pulled to achieve it. And that becomes effortless. Well, there's still hard work, but the motivation's there. You don't have to come up with that drive and that like, oh, I got to do this. It's just like every day I get up and I want to do this. This is pulling me and it invigorates me and enlivens me. And that's the difference there. So I encourage you to take a look at that. If you guys would like, I would love to do another live stream because we're running late on how to get to your real why. And when you uncover that, I promise you, it is your superpower. When you find that and you tap into that, life just happens for you and it becomes just miraculous. And so if you guys would like me to do that, let me know in the comments. And I could probably put one together in the next couple of days for you guys on that. I would love to do that because that has been completely life-changing for me and many other people. So very good. I hope that has helped. I know we have a lot more questions. Unfortunately, we're not going to be able to get to all of them, but I would encourage you guys, I'm going to leave you with one mindset practice here, like I promised at the beginning. I'm going to post it here. It's going to cover our faces for a minute, Dwayne. So be prepared for some text. Okay, cool. I get some people that would like to have that that live stream on the why. So now we're going to go over focusing on what we can control, okay? And acknowledge what you can't, but don't dwell there. So I have a couple of questions here. First is ask yourself, what do I ideally want in this situation? Again, we need to shift our focus off of everything that's going wrong and take a minute to focus on what we really want. All right? And then when you have that, when you feel like this is what I really ideally want, then ask yourself, what is holding me back from having it right now? Okay? And whatever comes up for you, that's the answer. What is holding me back from having it right now? And then if I can get rid of this one, I like to put the text here because I'm kind of visual and I know a lot of people are too. The next question is, what are the 1 to 2 most important things for me to get the result that I want? 1 to 2 most important things that I need to do to get the result that I want, right? Not that my spouse needs to do, not the universe needs to change for me. What are the 1 to 2 most important things I need to do? So maybe it's taking time for yourself. Maybe it's like what Dwayne said, it's getting up early. Maybe it's uncovering why you want to lose the weight and how you can do that in a form of self-love, right? And then take action on those things, okay? And then once you have your bigger 1 to 2 things that it's gonna help move you forward, then every day I do this. Ask yourself, what are the 1 to 2 most important things I can do today to get the result that I want? That's how you work on you, right? So we covered a lot of awesome things here together tonight. We talked about what self-love really is and what working on you really means. Dwayne went into, uncovering some of those limiting beliefs and shifting those so that he could become the person he really wanted to be. I'm not sure about what feedback is. There's a lot of background noise. No worries.
Birds decided to make noise.
The bird? Oh.
Yeah.
For me, it's my crazy kids, but birds are good too. Yeah, and then focusing on those 3 areas of control: what you can control, what you can influence, and then what you have no control over. So I challenge each of you, and I'd like you to put this as a declaration right now in the comments, that you will focus on what you can control. So I focus on what I control. Yes, I'm in. Whatever you want to put, I focus on what I control. And as you make that declaration, it will shift your brain to focus on those things, and you will find more and more of them. And as you do that, you will absolutely find your power there. When you find your power there, you think about the 1 to 2 most important things that you can do to get the result that you want, and you take action on them. That's it in a nutshell. All right, so thank you so much, Dwayne. Did you have any final thoughts? If you could go back and talk to yourself, 6 months ago, 12 months ago, what would you tell yourself?
Look, I think one of the biggest things I have is I need to recognize that I needed to recognize that my work was affecting my relationship. And I mean, I know a lot of us work shift and things like that, but a lot of services, police, fire, ambulance, all those medicals, they all work shift, and I commend them for that. But I ask people that are in that area to really look at their patterns and things like that. And I know it's something I needed to do, and really, just to make even the smallest change, may have changed the outcome. So, and look, I mean, I think that's what it is I just, you just need to recognize when the things are there. You just need to dig deep, and I mean, that's what I needed to do 6 months ago. So, but unfortunately, I missed the boat on that one. But I'm trying to catch the next plane, so it's all good.
You are where you are, and that's beautiful. Absolutely. So thank you all so much for commenting here. I can see so many of you are going to focus on what you control. One final thing here is that comment here that it's so hard not try to control things you can't, and not let the emotions take control. And it is. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. It takes work, but it is so worth it. The rewards completely outweigh the effort. And so, take your power and seize the day, right? Focus on what you can control, and beautiful things will happen for you. So our hearts of gratitude to you, Dwayne, so much. Thank you very much for coming on and sharing your incredible experience with us. We truly appreciate you.
Thank you.
Absolutely. All right. Well, you guys all have a great night, and we'll see you next time.
Ta.